The three of you have to take responsibility for this.
That's a very silly mistake to make for a
Stephen,
second time.
it's not just silly. This undermines your whole presentation if you get the pricing wrong to your customers. You've only had 3 major retailers. It's been said that there's 2 things certain in this life. Do you know what they are, Stephen? Death and taxes. Nothing to do with tax, nothing to do with that. You turn your back on it all the time. Do you realise how serious that is? And not just in the context of the revenue commissioners, but in the context of the retailers who you're trying to get to do business with you. You're pitching to get thousands of these things on the shelves. And the first thing they say is, youngsters, how much of this are they getting wrong? So, Aoiffe, you're the project manager of Cullen?
Yes, I was indeed.
And why did you put yourself forward?
Communication was going to be a very important element, and I pride myself on being a good communicator. I also felt that I had enough experience to manage the team well as well, so I thought I'd enjoy it as well, and I did.
Geraldine.
Yes, Bill.
What do you think of Aoiffe as the project manager?
I think she did a good job. Definitely. I think I'm impressed with the job that she done.
So you got on with her a bit better this week, did you?
Yeah. Hands down, Bill.
Do you think this looks anything like what's on the box?
It doesn't look too different. It does have that more rounded shape because, unfortunately, to fit the measure in, we did have to round it a little bit.
So whose design was the box?
That was myself and Breffny.
So how come it opens from the back?
I wasn't thinking. I was looking at it 2D on the screen, and you know, it was an oversight. That's all I can say.
And can I ask you something else?
Yes, of course.
Have you got an obsession with the colour black?
No, I don't think so.
It took a long time to answer.
I suppose we wanted to keep it sleek. Was the word that we'd come up with.
Which colour do you think would stand out on the shelves?
Well, I mean, colour-wise, obviously the orange is bright. Because we were trying to go for a contemporary kind of look and with nearly a seductive feel, we thought that it might...
Seductive feel?
Well...
Where have you put anything about the ABV on these items?
Our ABV is on the product itself.
Where will I find it?
It's along the marking, so you have your spirits, you have wine, and the percentage is there, and it's a gauge.
It's the average?
Yeah, it's a typical percentage.
Do you know how inaccurate averages are?
Absolutely, yeah.
What percentage can the average be out? 20%? 30%?
I would hope not more than that.
I would think it's about 30, myself, having looked at all the numbers on your sheet. Now, what you had to do was what? A disclaimer somewhere. That it is an average. Did you not know about those, Ruth?
Disclaimers, I'm aware of them, yeah.
When you're using an average, you must use a disclaimer?
When you say it, absolutely. At the time, it didn't come across me.
I wonder what you lot think about on these tasks. And you know, without the ABV on it, this unit is useless. You can't sell it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, Breffny.
Yeah.
How did you feel you did with your presentation?
Right, my presentation was very rough around the edges. I forgot a line and I was sweating buckets like Christy Moore. It was very, very embarrassing, but there was a good connection there even if I did look a bit stupid.
Breffny, you completely forgot why you were in the room.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to say a simple sentence and those words just didn't come to me. I was caught in the headlights for a second, but I think I moved on well. I do think that they were somewhat taken with the product.
OK. The decision on this rested with the retailers. And Spar, with serious alterations, are going to place an order for 10,000 units. With Platinum and your buddy, they have reservations about the childish aspect, which they want toned down, but they liked your packaging, and in particular, the amber colour, which definitely stood out on the shelves. But there's more than that, isn't there? Super Value are placing an order for 10,000 units as well. And that order goes to Cullen and your Alco measure. And again, modifications will have to be made. O'Brien's are placing a trial order for 560 units. And that order is going to Platinum and Buddy. So you took a risk. And despite everything, I have to say, you did a good job. Do you know what I think you guys need? A shake-up to get those brains that I know you have moving and working again and get these cobwebs blown away.
Totally.
So you're going to have a trip on the sea safari, going around Dublin Harbour at 38 knots an hour. After which, you're going to have a very nice lunch in Wright's Finlater in Howth Harbour.
Thank you.
So that's your reward, and it's for what we asked for, innovation. So off we go.
Thanks, Bill.
So, Cullen, you can go outside and start thinking about where it went wrong. 4 or 5 major errors. And a lack, not just of consistency, but a lack of determination. And Aoiffe, when you come back in here, you'll be nominating 2 people to return to the boardroom with you, and one of you will then be fired. Off you go.
Welcome to Finlay Skybar.
Congratulations, lads. Well done. Think my buddy enjoyed this?
Buddy would smile at anything. Bon appetit.
Just want to toss 9, lads.
There's no determination, there's
No,
persistence about what they're trying to do.
but they need a serious shaking up here.
I have a really big problem with you guys today, do you know that? Do you know why? You guys have talent, but you're leaving it behind somewhere. Can any of you say to me that you did your real best on this task? Because if you did, it's not good enough. And come back to one simple thing, alcohol measure as a name. Can you just explain that to me in any way at all, why you 4 years agreed to put that name on the box?
Well, it's a team decision, Bill, and I was
Don't be
thinking-
blaming other people.
No,
You are part of the team.
Absolutely.
Do you see why I'm disappointed?
Absolutely.
And Ruth, it's you that has the master's degree in marketing
Yes, I did.
and all this experience in Australia, all over the world.
Yeah, I did certainly voice my concerns over the alcohol measure. We talked about different names that we had for it, and I think the reason we reverted to it is that we thought it was going to connect, as in say exactly what it did in the tin to measure alcohol, and maybe if we had called it the alcohol measure as opposed to alcohol.
That's a bit different.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
The word alcohol has a totally different
Yeah, I'm
meaning
aware of that.
to alcohol.
Yeah.
And that's as plain as the nose in your face. Ruth and Geraldine, you were responsible for this prototype.
Yeah.
Tell me why there's 2 pieces.
The reason we decided to put it on a base, I suppose, first off, the design that we originally had conceptualised was very much a very sleek and smooth V-shaped pyramid or cone, which would fit into a base. So, firstly, functionally, it needed to work as a base to actually give the product a stability and stand.
Stability. And you know what happens when you have 2 pieces? You lose one of them. And you know what happens if you had that on its own, full of liquid?
Yeah.
Spoil its touch.
Yeah, geometry is against us there. The problem is...
Could you not have put a base on that?
Potentially we could have, yes.
In a sense, I suppose it was more up to the girls who were with the prototype designer to decide on, you know, it might have looked better with the one base.
When it was designed on the...
You're the project manager.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you made plenty of phone calls over to them. So I'm just wondering how you hadn't got some input into what you were doing. You didn't pay any attention to this task.
Yeah.
Because these are all obvious things. And do you think you achieved the things you were trying to achieve?
Obviously, we did with one of our customers because they were willing to put an order in, but obviously in the other 2, we were less successful.
Only because they were horrified at what Platinum produced.
Ruth, the price.
Yep.
I can't let this go either. Do you know that? The pricing was all wrong. All over the place. This is the piece of paper you gave?
Well, we verbally gave it, yeah, the information of it.
Well, you didn't. You had to go scurrying around to get a bit of paper, I'm
Yes,
told.
I did, yeah.
You hadn't even finalised the price. You hadn't even discussed the connotations of the price. You didn't even know how much you were going to be giving the retailer. So the retailer, which would be me, and fellas in retail know prices inside out. This is what they're doing all day, every day. The most important thing to people today in every purchase, big or small, is what?
Price. Absolutely.
And you thought about it.
Profit.
You thought about it 10 minutes beforehand. If you guys were starting a business on its own and trying to sell your product to 3 major retailers who wanted to buy it, do you think you'd have all those prices worked out? And it's all simple. You should know all this by now. These are all in business. What's wrong? Have the brain stopped here? So were you happy then with the 2 presentations?
I was happy with Breffny's presentation. He stumbled at the beginning and he had another little slip of the tongue, we'll call it. But he was concise, he didn't waffle. On the other hand, Geraldine's, no, I was less happy with hers. I felt it was a little bit all over the place, and also, of course, the use of the word hammered and things like that are just not